Nepal 2015 by Ashlyn, Thompson, and Jessica Raynor. The worst earthquake in the region in more than 80 years. It happened Saturday, April 25th, 2015, and May 12th, 2015. On April 25th, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake on the Richter scale hit. On May 17th, just 12 days after, a large 7.3 magnitude earthquake hit in the same area. There were hundreds of aftershocks in the following days, the highest being a 6.6 and a 6.7 magnitude. The epicenter was less than 50 northwest of the capital of Kathmandu in central Nepal. Gorkha, Limjong, and Sangdu Palchok were the first affected areas of Nepal. Over 40% of Nepal was affected, as well as parts of Tibet and India. The depth was 11 kilometers or 6.8 miles. Human and infrastructural damage. Approximately 80 million people were affected, 8,700 people died, and over 22,200 were injured during the first quake. 150 people died during the second, 1.1 children needed urgent assistance, and 2.8 needed humanitarian assistance in the following. Avalanches that occurred on Mount Everest killed 17 climbers, and 200 more were stranded on the mountain. Infrastructural. 500,000 homes were destroyed, and another 2,790,000 temples and roads were destroyed. Farms and cattle wiped out by the initial quake or subsequent landslides. Water systems were completely damaged. Why so bad? Nepal sits on the boundary of two massive tectonic plates, the Indo-Australian and the Asian plates. The collision of the two subduction plates created the Himalayan mountains and was cause of the earthquake. The source of the earthquake was relatively shallow, which is why it was so strong. Nepal's infrastructure was extremely feeble, and since most houses buildings were not built by trained engineers, the government was ill prepared to deal with the disasters of such scale, and the local communities were not organized enough to coordinate emergency assistance. The economic cost was estimated to be $1 billion. Rebuilding alone would cost the $5 billion. Nepal is one of the poorest countries in the world, so the economy was already bad before the earthquake hit. The economics reliance on agriculture and tourism created an even bigger issue because it all got destroyed during the earthquake. Deforestation during the quake, as well as the people use of fuel after the quake, prevented water absorption and land anchoring for the tree roots. By contributing to landslides and flooding after, the heavy monsoon season following did not help this. Earthquakes and climate change have made glacial lakes even more susceptible to glacial lake outburst floods, which are often obliterated villages and infrastructure downstream. The effects were local and regional because people lost their livelihood both in tourism and livestock. Global effects were on the halt of tourism, and they needed an outside countries to help donate time and money to rebuild their country. Thousands of livestock animals were left without shelter and access to clean food and water for days or weeks at a time after this quake. This left them out of the element and more susceptible to diseases. 150,000 birds, 8,000 buffaloes and cows, 14,500 pigs and goats all died in the initial earthquake. Many were frightened, and pets lost their homes forever. Some fun facts or examples that we have learned is that earthquakes itself doesn't kill people. The building and debris falling from individuals is what kill them. After the earthquake, they plan to rebuild the city better from having newer technology, which has provided a seismic resistance and prevented a repetition of what happened in 2015. The main Earth system that the earthquakes were involved with was the geosphere, but the aftermath caused by monsoons and flooding were the hydrosphere. And here is our sources.